Jingle?
Gulliver slowly opened his eyes when the sun's rays touched him.
Ah, I feel better now.
He tried to sit up but was unable to move even an inch. And this time it was not because of tiredness.
I'm tied down. Who could have done this?
He was tied with thin but strong ropes. The ropes tied his arms, legs, and the rest of his body to small pegs stuck in the ground. He tried to lift his head, but his hairs too were spread out and fastened with the pegs in the same way. The only thing he was able to see was the bright blue sky. Suddenly, his expression changed.
Oh my God, something is moving up my leg.
His curiosity grew more when he heard some strange sounds around him.
I can feel some insect on my leg. It's moving up.
Gulliver lowered his eyes when the movement stopped near his chin. He slowly lowered his eyes and was wonderstruck when he realized that it was not an insect but a miniature model of a human being. Gulliver was in the land of Lilliput, where people were barely 6 inches tall.
What am I seeing? A human being barely 6 inches tall? Oh my!
There was a little man standing with a bow and arrow on Gulliver. Slowly, Gulliver felt more movement, and a small troop appeared behind the first man. All were aiming the arrow at his nose.
Whoa!
All the tiny soldiers ran backwards, toppling over each other and jumping off in terror when they heard Gulliver's voice. But soon they all returned. One soldier walked near his nose and shouted,
My God! What language is this? I don't even have a small clue about it. But first, I should try to get myself free.
Gulliver twisted and turned his left arm till all the pegs were pulled out from the ground.
What a relief!
With his left arm, he started loosening his hair. Soon, his head too was free.
Now, I can move my head too.
Gulliver looked around and was astonished to see a large number of little bees. He extended his hand to grab some, but they were too quick and ran away before he could reach them. One little soldier screamed in his native language. The next moment, hundreds of arrows flew towards Gulliver like a swarm of bees. His clothes saved him from the arrows, but his hands and face received the full blow of the attack. He tried to get up and free himself, but another swarm of arrows flew towards him to stop his attempts.
Oh, I guess they don't want me to be free. Lemuel, lie still. Lie still, knight, and then think of escape.
Gulliver stopped his attempts to escape, and the little ones too stopped their attack. A few minutes passed, and suddenly Gulliver heard a sound. He saw many of them working hard to erect a platform near his head. As soon as the platform was finished, one person climbed on it. He was the minister named Hergo. He was followed by another minister. Minister Hergo spoke for a long time looking at Gulliver, but Gulliver could not understand a word.
Sir, I am an Englishman. My name is Gulliver.
Minister Hergo too did not understand a word.
Oh, to add to all these things, I'm feeling very hungry. I need to somehow explain to them that I am hungry.
Gulliver slowly explained in action that he was feeling hungry. Hergo understood and ordered his men to bring some food. After a few minutes, small ladders were set up against Gulliver's body. Many men climbed up with buckets full of bread and meat. It was quickly dumped in his mouth. Gulliver gestured that he was thirsty too. Lilliputians rolled a barrel up the ladder and poured the liquid. The liquid in a barrel was just a cup full for him. They rolled another barrel.
It's delicious. Tastes much like a good wine.
Gulliver asked for more. Another barrel was brought up and its content was poured into his mouth.
Let me ask for one more.
But before he could ask for more, the tiny beings gestured that they had no more of that liquid left.
I'm very grateful to you. Oh, now I feel better. It's a very hard work for them to climb up on me with all these buckets of food and barrels of liquid.
The minister again spoke and pointed his finger in a particular direction.
I guess that he's pointing to some place. First thing, I should learn their language.
Gulliver's guess was right. Minister Hergo explained that Gulliver was going to be transferred to their capital, Mildendo.
Let me gesture that I want to be free.
Minister Hergo, who understood, moved his head from side to side and made signs that he would not be released until their emperor ordered to free him.
Oh, I have no other option except to let these people do what they wanted.
Gulliver again gestured that the wound was paining. The minister turned towards his subjects and gave some orders. The next moment, Gulliver was surrounded by the Lilliputians. This time, they all applied some sweet-smelling liquid on his wounds. It slowly reduced the pain. Gulliver, who felt comfortable, fell into a deep sleep as a sleeping medicine was mixed in his drink. At the same moment,
Minister, build a big cart and bring the man to our capital.
Yes, Your Honor.
Lilliputs began building a huge vehicle. Finally, a huge cart was built, which had 20 wheels.
We have built many vehicles to carry trees, but this one is the biggest of all.
Gulliver was very big for them. Hundreds of Lilliputians joined together and pulled him and placed him on the cart. The cart started to move. They traveled for a whole day. The journey continued the next day too. The next day, Gulliver slowly opened his eyes. He saw the trees moving. It took him a few seconds to realize that he was being taken to the capital.
How did they manage to shift me on this cart? And how are they pulling me?
He slowly lifted his head and was again wonderstruck. The cart was being pulled by thousands of horses, which were not more than 4 inches tall.
Oh my God! And nearly 500 soldiers on both the sides.
Gulliver laid his head back and enjoyed the beautiful countryside. The journey came to an end by afternoon. A few moments passed. The emperor came out and was wonderstruck. He climbed up on the specially raised platform and looked down carefully. The emperor began to speak.
Giant man, hope you won't create any trouble for us and you can stay there.
There was a deserted temple in the direction pointed by the emperor. The worship had been stopped since a murder had taken place in it.
Oh, only 4 feet high. I can only crawl into it. But I guess this should be the biggest building in this island.
In the meantime, the royal blacksmith fastened iron chains to the walls of the desert, which was tied to the left leg of Gulliver.
Now cut the ropes.
The ropes were cut, and as soon as the ropes came on, he sat up and stretched himself. Gulliver rubbed his hands and looked around. He took a step, but could only move to the length of 2 yards. The capital of Lilliput, Mildendo, was a perfect square. A wall surrounded it, which were 2 feet high and 500 feet long.
Oh, No, I can move only 2 yards. My freedom is restricted to 2 yards.
Most of the houses had 4 or 5 stories, and they all looked well built. Colorful markets and well-stocked shops gave evidence to the prosperity of the city.
The emperor wanted me to live here and spend my life in this temple.